welcome everybody to this Ivy Camp, Ivy Connect session. Just to give you a little bit of background for those who are not familiar with Ivy Camp. Ivy Camp is an initiative of Ivy Cap Ventures, a venture capital fund driven by the IIT IM Alumni Network based in Bombay. What we do at Ivy Camp is work with early stage entrepreneurs, students across the institutes like yourself, primarily across the IITs, IIMs, and connect them, to either domain experts, early stage investors. We do a lot of corporate innovation programs where we work with a number of corporate organizations connecting startups to run things
Anju,
like
I think
POCs.
we are losing your voice.
Okay, 1 second. Let me try something. Just give me a second. Can you hear me better now? Is that better? Gokul, can you hear me now?
Yes, Anju, we can hear you all right.
Okay.
Yes.
So like I said, we run a lot of these engagements, and we've recently started this Ivy Connect series where we invite IIT or IIM alumni founders to talk about various topics, based on what we've heard back from entrepreneurs across the IITs on topics they would like to, talk about. Our last session was on, what we call the art of storytelling, and how do founders tell a story about their startups based on the audience that they're addressing. So today we're talking about product market fit, and I'm very happy to have Jatin Solanki, who is the co-founder of Expertrons, also an IIT alumni. So we'll have him talk a little bit about his own experience in terms of, how you think about a product market fit, how do you know you have the right product, how do you understand what your customer needs, and we'd like to make this interactive, so please feel free to ask questions. Jatin, I'll turn it over to you. If you could give a brief introduction, background about yourself, and then, let's get right into it. Over to you, Jatin.
Thanks a lot, Anju, for this warm introduction. And I hope I'm audible, so at any point of time, if I'm not audible, do let me know. And so thanks a lot. Really glad to be here. Really glad to be present and speaking with alumni, with juniors, and each one of you about this topic, which is from idea to revenue. So I'll of course start with a bit of my background. Anju, if someone can enable the screen share for me.
Yeah, Gokul, can you do that?
Yes, Jatin, I'm doing it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks a lot for being present here. I'll start with our backgrounds. So like me, I'm Jatin Solanki. I'm the founder of Expertrons. I'm an alumni of IIT Bombay, and I have a decade of experience in entrepreneurship. So my previous venture was the largest venture in gamification of learning. So we made games through which kids can play, learn maths and science, prepare for Olympiads. We served over 2 million students in the K-12 domain. So we worked with over 2 million students in the K-12 domain, worked with top private schools like GD Somani, JK Singhania. We worked with the Maharashtra state government. We were backed by Mr. Deepak Parekh from HDFC, as well as we were backed by Mr. Amitabh Bachchan as brand ambassador and investor from there. So did a lot of interesting work in the K-12 last decade. Vivek, who is my co-founder, he co-founded a company called Plansys, which was in the test preparation domain. So he built a profitable venture, got acquired by a public listed entity, and both of us are batchmates, hostelmates from IIT Bombay. And interestingly, when we got together, we started discussing, because we both had our backgrounds in the K-12 domain, we started discussing what are the white spaces or gaps which are there in the professional space. So globally, over 1 billion professionals who are going to change their careers 5 to 7 times in their lifetime. And in each of these career changes, they'll be requiring the right mentorship, right guidance for themselves. And we were so we of course started brainstorming on things on how we can kind of make a dent in that particular space. Being a second-time entrepreneur, I've had like 2 more ventures in the past. One of my ventures right in IITs, which was in the space of e-commerce, and we used to sell laptops, mobile phones, hard drives within the campus. My second venture was in game learning. Problem statement, and you start with things you want to kind of solve for a problem, and people, there are various approaches to kind of reaching to an idea and kind of to reach to an to a revenue stage or to an operational stage for yourself. And that journey for me in both my previous ventures.
Jatin, your voice is breaking up a little bit.
Am I audible?
Yeah, now you are.
Oh, okay. I think did it get? I mean, was I not audible for a bit?
It was coming in and out a little bit.
Okay. I hope it is audible right now.
Yeah. Right now it's good.
Wonderful. So I was actually talking about. I'll of course I'll want this session to be interactive in nature. So I'll of course walk you through a bit of how the journey of Expertrons kind of shaped up, and then of course would like to understand. Would like to take Q&A from the panel so that I understand what stage of ideation are you at. What are your expectations from the session so that I can help you through your journey, of course, in entrepreneurship. And so I'll talk a bit about how the Expertrons journey kind of shaped up for us. Globally, over 1 billion professionals who are going to change their careers 5 to 7 times in their lifetime. In India alone, there are 40 million aspirants who are essentially looking for dream job, dream internship, dream B school. Close to 80 million white collar professionals who are going to look for a switch. And of course, they lack a lot of guidance, knowledge, soft skill, domain skill. They lack a lot of referral network, the right people who can guide them for their natural next step. And we thought, why not we have a platform where a lot of experts can share their experience of how they landed their dream career in the form of our patent pending video bot technology. So how some expert who is working at Facebook or some expert who is at Harvard Business School can record their career experience and share it in the form of video bot. So I'll just show you a small demo of how these video bots look like at Expertrons.
I'll be sharing my career experience with Royal Bank of Scotland on Expertrons to help millions of aspirants like you. So tap the mic and ask me any questions related to the same.
What research did you do about the Royal Bank of Scotland?
I'd gone to the website of the bank to see its history. Also read through the annual report of the bank to see the size of the balance sheet. I researched about the regulators that govern the bank and the different products and businesses that bank has to offer to its customers. Since I had applied for a risk management role, it was important for me to understand the capital requirements as well.
Photosynthesis.
We are here to discuss my experience at Royal Bank of Scotland. You can find the answers to these online.
So these are pre-recorded career experiences which these experts have shared on our platform. Interestingly, right now we have more than 7,500 experts who are sharing their experience on our platform, and they're sharing their experience from Flipkart, Amazon, OnePlus, Sequoia Capital, BCG, McKinsey, all possible top companies, and these are pre-recorded experiences. So someone sitting in IIT Madras today can download the app and start recording their career experiences. They can publish it, and on the other side, others can actually interact with your pre-recorded experience. Others can actually tap on your profile, ask a question, get an answer from your profile. And this is very interesting because this huge content which we have built acts as our customer acquisition engine. When people are looking for jobs after BCom or Amazon interview questions, they actually land on our platform and they are able to interact with video bots of these experts and are also able to book a one-on-one consultation with these experts. So this is a very interesting channel for us to acquire users and then of course have one-on-one for this end user. And when we did this, of course, an idea to a revenue stage, of course, there's a lot of iterative process which happens there. So the idea which we started with about 2.5 years back was very different from where we are in terms of the business as of today. Of course, we started as being a platform which is a content-rich platform which will help people to take guidance from the right experts. When we did more than 3,000 one-on-one consultation, we realized that people were not just looking for a single one-on-one consultation. They were actually looking for certain outcomes in their careers, and that can be job skilling, that can be upskilling, that can be job-oriented programs. And this is very interesting, where in job skilling, how Netflix recommends you what movies you should be watching. We actually recommend you on our platform that, hey, these are the experts who are from your similar tier college or from this domain which you like, or these companies which you're aspiring for.
So Jatin, it would be helpful, if you could also share, maybe also a little bit later, how do you go about thinking about it, right? So you're saying you had this idea and then it changed.
Right.
Like once you had the idea,
right.
How did you get from there to kind of change it? Like, did you talk to people?
Right.
How did you get feedback?
Right.
So that I think will be very helpful for somebody who just
Absolutely.
has an idea, right? What next?
Absolutely. So when we kind of had this idea about 2.5 years back, we wanted to first know that, so we knew that for us to be successful, for anyone, like any of you to be successful, you have to talk to people who have already been there and done that. We knew that we had to kind of talk with people who are going to be the end user of this service. So it can be students who are already in colleges, or people who are in their professional career who are looking for that career success. So we actually, like about 2.5 years back, around 2019 end or so, we were actually at the IIT Bombay campus talking to a lot of juniors who were going through their placement journeys, who were like, some of them were actually placed in that December season, and some of them who were not placed and who were still going through that placement process. So we did about 1,000 one-on-one interviews with people who were in the campus in their final year. So like we almost spoke with each of the final year aspirants within the campus to understand whether a platform like this would kind of help them. So that was like the first step of the journey. We also spoke with a lot of TPOs across Mumbai. So we visited like 150 different colleges across Mumbai to talk to a lot of TPOs. And this was even before us starting a venture, or even before incorporating a private limited company. Of course, even being a second-time entrepreneur with a decade of experience and everything, we wanted to make sure that we set on an idea, or we kind of invest all our time on something which there actually is a need of. So of course that ideation stage was something which was very different for us to kind of understand that a product like ours would add value to them. Of course, not everything was figured out. The monetization bit was not completely figured out, or many things were not completely figured out. But at least at the start of it, you need to know that, is your audience really in the need of a service like that or a product like that? That's there. Of course, this was like my third journey. But if I talk about my first journey while I was on the campus, I just bought a hard drive, and I bought it at a cheaper rate, and I knew someone. I knew a distributor in Bangalore who could supply me that, and a lot of my final year batchmates were looking for hard drives, laptops, mobile phones, and we said, hey, there's a need in the campus for this, and we can very well be a company who could supply this within the campus. So 3 of us, right from our college room, started doing that. We just we actually stuck posters across the campus, and we started selling that, because we had a distributor who would give it to us at a lower price, and we, like, within the campus there was need of these electronic products. So there the ideation was very simple. There was need in the market, and we had a certain distribution. We started with that plan. So that was very different than my second venture, where in gamification of learning, we did know that there is a lot of value in learning through games, or a lot of value in making sure that learning is fun. So in Edu is Fun, in Step App, where we had to kind of make learning fun, we had to do a lot of research with school kids. We had to develop the product for about 2 years. So it was a long process, because there was not just development of an app, but also development of a lot of content in it. And there the process was a bit different. In my first venture, it was a bit different. And of course, here in the third venture, as I'm speaking about, we actually spoke with a lot of final year students. We spoke with a lot of training and placement officers to understand the need of something we are building. So that's one part which for sure you need to think of. One more thing to kind of consider while you're thinking of ideas is actually your strength. So if your strength is in, say, a direct to consumer domain, or if your strength is like say coding is your strength and development is your strength, or if your strength like say many people in your family are say related with LIC and HDFC and like a lot of financial products. So like you've like right from your childhood you have seen financial products, and you want to build a platform for these financial products. So that like there lies your strength, because you not only have to think of an idea which there is need in the market, you also have to fall in love with that idea for at least 1,000 days. So that is something which is very critical to any idea you start. You have to kind of when you start or when you are kind of sticking to an idea, you have to stick to that for about 1,000 days to kind of get a really good result or a really good hang out of it. So your strength should lie in it, your heart should lie in it. So that becomes your second very important criteria for you to kind of pick an idea. And then, of course, you can do competitive research or industry benchmark or find ideas which have really blown out of proportion in a different geography. So, and that the third way is also very simple. Like you don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel. You don't have to create something which is new. A lot of big ideas, even in India, like how Flipkart started, these guys were actually working in Amazon, and they kind of thought of an idea which was already inspired idea, already something which was really big in the States. Amazon actually started with the books category. And the same is what Flipkart did in India in Bangalore. So that is one of the ideas. Ola, Bhavesh Agarwal, of course, they started in a similar fashion, and they knew that Uber is out of proportion out of India, and they started with the same like a competitive analysis and how others are performing and how they can kind of dent that particular space. So for a lot of you who are in that ideation stage, who are actually in that stage that how would their idea kind of make a dent? These three criteria are something very, very important. It of course needs to solve a problem. It actually needs to be of a need. It cannot be a good to have. It actually need like if it is just good to have, your buyers may kind of use your service or may not use your service, may use your product or may not use your product. If it is only good to have, or it is just an addition to something which is a dire need. So that's the first criteria, and that needs to be there. Second, you need to be in love with that idea. Your heart needs to be in that place, and your strength needs to lie with that particular ideation. And third, of course, being that you can actually do a competitive research, you can actually do an industry benchmark, and you can find something which is more suited for you. So that's there. I'll of course want to kind of keep this interactive. So I'll also keep answering to a few questions here, and I would love for you to kind of pour in more questions specific to this. So I'm just answering one of the questions, which is, what was your value proposition, offerings to the experts? Yeah, so this is very interesting. When we wanted the experts to share their experience on our platform, of course, our value proposition to the experts was fairly simple. Like these experts were already for them to come on our platform and to share their experience, there were three major motives. The first one, of course, being that the platform there's a fame factor to it. Like when I come and share my video bot on Expertrons, I'll have 50,000 people watching my video bot. And this is very interesting. During the day, I am busy in entrepreneurship, but my video bot is being watched by 50,000 people or even 100,000 people. So that was the first, fame was one of the factors for which experts were coming on our platform. The second factor was social, where not only there was a social angle to it. Like while I am busy, but my video bot is helping thousands, lakhs, millions of aspirants there. I can actually choose to do it pro bono, or I can actually do it for a cause. Like whatever I earn on the platform, I want to donate it to say a COVID charity. So that was the second factor. And of course, the third factor being monetizing your network. And this is very interesting. Like a lot of these experts were already popular on Quora, 2,000 people reading about them on Quora, or more than say 20 people sending them requests every day on LinkedIn, but they didn't know how to monetize their network. So this third component was also very interesting for the experts to come on our platform and kind of to share their experience on our platform for their value addition.
So Jatin, if I could just add to that, I mean, because I think this is a question that comes up a lot. I mean, how did you convince them to kind of do this, create their videos when you were starting, right? I mean, you didn't have those 50,000 people. So what then? Because that's what people struggle with. If you already have a following, you've been around, then people will come. But how do you convince the first few to do it when you're just starting?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The first 100 experts were the most difficult to get. We had to actually get them from our network. We had to push our batchmates. We had to push our seniors, juniors to kind of come on the platform. But when we actually got the right set of people on the platform, we actually got like IIT Bombay batchmates, or we got people from BCG, McKinsey.
Jatin, I think you froze
People
again.
on the platform. Is it audible now?
Yeah, now it's better. The last 30 seconds just froze. You were talking about BCG.
Is it?
So...
Yeah. Is it audible now? Yeah. So
yes.
Okay, perfect. I'll get started. Yeah. So so we actually got people from our network on the platform. So that was something which was very interesting. We actually got our batchmates, we got our senior, we got a lot of these guys on our platform. Once we had the right set of people, like first 50, 100 people whom we had to kind of push and we had to get them. And that, of course, was a lot of manual effort. We had to kind of visit them. We had to kind of record them, we had to upload their video because they would not take the effort to kind of make the content themselves or record it themselves and publish it. So we had to kind of push a lot of guys to kind of join on our platform, and that getting these right experts, right brands, right logos, right experts on the first 100 right experts platform helped us get the remaining 7,400 experts really easily. Because of course, I mean, now when you have really top brands, top experts on the platform, it helps for them to kind of have this credibility about the platform. Because like how you and me join a Clubhouse because there is Elon Musk on the platform. Now we have now been able to get Arjun Vaidya, who is Dr. Vaidya's founder, Nikhil Vora, who is one of our investors. So we have got really good names also. Kunal Shah is one of our investors. So we have now been able to get really good set of experts also on our platform to help more experts come on the platform. But yeah, very interesting question on how did we, like the first 100 experts, of course, was a lot of manual effort, was a lot of personal relationship which we used to kind of get on our platform. I can see a question around how did we profile our customers. So this is very interesting because for us to profile that which kind of users are we kind of targeting or which kind of users are we behind, it was a very interesting journey for us to kind of understand that there's a very different need for freshers who are right out of their colleges, and there's a very different need for the professionals in their particular market. So that was very interesting journey to kind of for us to evolve over time. Because once when we were just doing these one-on-one calls and when we did close to 3,000 one-on-one consultations, we got to know that people were not just looking for one-on-one calls. Like they were not just looking to connect with someone from Facebook and talk to them and get, say, interview funding. But over and above that, maybe they were also looking to learn some skills. They were looking to build their resume. They were looking to get a referral at these particular companies. So this was very interesting. And that's where these three categories of definitive outcome kind of came into picture. Job skilling was essentially like how Netflix recommends you movies. We recommend you experts who are the most suited for you. So you get one-on-one calls with them. You get your resume, LinkedIn made up. You actually get soft skill preparation, self-paced programs. You get referrals from these experts. So you get a lot of these. So we understood that this was the dire need. This was like a finishing school to a lot of people who were graduating. So for the profile of audience which was graduating or who were early in their careers, their resume were not properly made. Their soft skill was not properly prepared. A lot of these industry like corporates, like a Tech Mahindra or a TCS, they say that 96% of graduates are not corporate ready, and that is really the harsh truth of what we were trying to solve, and that's where this job skilling kind of came into picture. And we realized that people were also lacking hard skills like marketing, HR, BFSI, operations. A lot of these hard skills were lacking, and that's where we started live upskilling programs which would actually teach you a lot of these and will also give you certifications from, say, an IIT Guwahati, from an NIT Patna, from a Praxis Business School, a lot of these different places. So that was our second category, where we understood that people in their early careers who were, say, 2-3 years into sales, and they did not know what next to do in my career, and that was something which was very interesting, where for them this upskilling became a very major thing they had to kind of solve for themselves. And that's where kind of we started bringing in upskilling, which would kind of solve for their problem of not getting stuck in their professional journey, like 3, 4, 5 years, and they don't see what kind of promotion they'll get or how they'll move up the professional ladder. So that was the second category. And third category, of course, being more around job-oriented, job guarantee programs. And here, interestingly, we were closely working with, we are now currently closely working with Kotak Mahindra, Union Bank, and even a Motilal Oswal, where we have coined a program which is very much in association with these players, like PG certification in BFSI, and you would actually get selected for the program at the start of the program. So it's like a college, like it's a PG certification program in BFSI, where you would actually get placed at the company at the start of the program. And then we'll teach you whatever we have decided in terms of curriculum with these banks, say in mutual fund or gold loan or things like that. And then you actually work at the company and you also earn during the program. So in that 5 months, you're also making money, or you're actually getting a stipend or salary out of it. So we understood the profiles and we started kind of building programs around it to kind of launch it for our end users. So this was very interesting. And then, so I can also see another question, which is, when do you actually know that product worked or didn't work, and how quickly can you know it? So this is another, like, this is very interesting. I mean, for us to kind of course, know it. So this is of course a very interesting part of. So every time you launch a program or you launch any feature in the product, you actually set certain KPIs. So you actually set that certain KPIs that, hey, you want to achieve these many users, or you want to achieve, say, this much revenue out of this program which you have launched. And this of course comes as part of the pilot which you launch, and that pilot of course comes at certain cost. So you actually decide on when you're kind of launching any of these things, the success and failure of it is kind of measured with respect to the KPIs. So if you have launched certain feature which is, say, to increase the monthly active user, or if you have launched certain feature which is to increase the number of experts, are the number of experts actually increasing by doing that, or by doing that measure? So this is very interesting, which kind of helps you to kind of understand whether this experiment has worked or not. And very interestingly, while you're doing that, you have to be very careful in terms of so you have only got certain resources, you have only got certain, say, capital, you have only got certain team bandwidth, you have only got, if you're bootstrapped, of course, you're actually putting in your own capital, you're actually putting in your own time value of money. So it is very interesting or very important for you to quickly experiment things and kind of get result out of it. And you must have actually heard of the term which is fail fast. And this is very important that you kind of make smaller experiments out of it, run that experiment, which is, say, a 15 days exercise or a 30-day exercise, and get some result out of it to know. And you set certain KPIs at the start of the thing. So how in an exam, like in a 10th board, you knew that if you get anything above 35%, you are actually pass. So that was something which was set at the beginning of the 10th standard, right? You knew that if you get more than 35 marks, you're pass, or 40 marks, you're pass. Or in a JEE, you knew that you get a rank within, say, 5,000, or you get a rank within 4,000, you'll get the best of the IITs. So at the start of any launch or any pilot or anything you try, you have to set certain KPIs, and that KPIs, if you achieve them, you set certain bare minimum KPI that if we achieve this, it will be called a success, or it will not be called a success, and it should be killed. So that's something which is interesting. So for us, we always, at the start of those experiments, we had to set certain KPIs to kind of know that whether this is a success or this is a failure. So, and I'll give you a very simple example of one of the experiments we tried in my previous venture, where we had these games, and we thought that, hey, why not, we should actually sell these games for, say, $3, $2 on the Play Store. Like every chapter, like trigonometry chapter could be sold for $2 or $3. And we had set certain deadline for ourselves. We launched that on the Play Store. We started doing certain experiments, and this was actually 6 years before today. And the market, of course, was not like even today. Most of us don't buy on the Play Store or buy apps for, say, one chapter or something like that. And we when that experiment failed, we had to understand that what the consumers are used to consuming. So consumers at that point, they were used to consuming something physical. And what we did is, hey, why not we put all our games into a tablet? Why not we call this a gamified learning slate? Why not we call it a gamified learning slate? And you'll have your entire year's curriculum within it. So for us, to reach from idea to a product to a revenue at that company, it actually took us like 2 years in development, 1 year in these experiments, and say the 4th year we not only made revenue, we started being operational profitable when we actually realized that, hey, this tablet could be sold for 50,000, and this would have, say, entire year's curriculum of math, science, Olympiad, and all the games it would have within the tablet. So it took us a longer duration in that, but it is very important for all of you to know that these experiments need to be kind of run very quickly, and you need to kind of get result out of it, because resources are limited, your time value is limited, and you have to kind of make sure that you achieve there faster than or sooner than later. So that's something. How do you know your product has reached the product market fit? I think so. This is very interesting. You don't even need to. So there are certain, as I've already mentioned, that there are certain KPIs which you set for yourself. Those KPIs, of course, should be kind of broken in that process. But if something has reached PMF, you would actually see that there is referrals is a very simple criteria for you to know that a PMF has achieved. Like people who are succeeding in your, like if the outcome of one of our programs is jobs, and say in the last 8 to 10 months, we have placed over 1,000 aspirants. And if I go to those 1,000 people, they'll very happily be referring to 2 or 3 other people. So if people are loving your product, are actually wanting to get other people on board and are kind of intrigued by it, are actually wanting to give you, say, 5-star, are actually wanting to, and that would kind of, that is one of the indicators for you to know that a PMF has been achieved. Because there are certain goals it needs to achieve for your end user, and are the goals being met? If the goals are being met, you can actually measure the NPS. You can actually see that are they rating your product or your service really well? And if they are rating it well, are they actually are they putting so the basic check is, are they actually putting their money, or are they just talking that, hey, your product is good, I like the product? Because while you are at ideation stage, you may talk to 100 people and 100 people may say, hey, I like your idea. But are they going to put, say, 500 rupees on your product? It may be a beauty product, or it may be a beer brand which you launch, or it may be a tech product. Will they actually pay 500 rupees for subscription of your OTT channel or whatever you're building? So are they putting their money where it matters is a very basic criteria of whether PMF has achieved, or like is reaching for you or not. So that becomes a very basic indicator. And of course, when referrals starts happening, when more people start coming into the system, so that actually, of course, helps you know more about PMF getting achieved. So that's something very interesting. What was the MVP offering for us? So this is very interesting. And at what stage did we look out for external funding? So this is a very interesting question around MVP. So let me answer this as well. So minimum viable product in our case, because we knew that it is a platform where people would come and they could actually take guidance from other experts. For us, we knew that we need to have a platform with at least 100 experts content on the platform. So we started recording these content from outside of it, and we started kind of doing all of that manually. But while we were doing that, we were also building the platform. So we knew that we had to kind of set on a certain timeline, and we had to set on a certain minimum investment which we could do in this particular case. Of course, got an intern from IIT Bombay who would do the designing. I was involved in the development, hired a freelance developer. So me, a freelance developer, IIT Bombay intern, we started kind of building things. In 4 to 8 weeks, we actually had the beta, kind of 6 to 8 weeks, we had the beta ready. We had the content for it ready, which we kind of uploaded on the platform. So that was very interesting. But yeah, while we were doing this, we started looking for external funding. And even in 2019, like December, we were sure that we will not be able to kind of just raise it on paper, like just an idea on the paper, and we'll be able to raise money. So we knew that we had to show certain traction, and that's where the video bot concept, we filed a patent on it, and we had a unique idea or value proposition. We had certain number of aspirants who were booking one-on-one consultations. So we had certain revenue, not very huge revenue, but we had some amount of revenue. And we had started to talk to investors at that point. So we knew that we cannot go with just a paper idea. We had to go with something. So we actually built the prototype. We put the content. We had more than 100 experts on the platform, and that's when we kind of started approaching people and started showing it to them, because there's a very thin line difference between talking to your consumers and talking to your investors, and while we were talking to a lot of consumers, we were able to kind of make them we were able to just tell them the idea, and on the idea we were able to take their content. But while we were kind of going to our investor, we had to have the prototype, we had to have the content in it, and that's what we kind of projected and we kind of showcased it to the end user. So that kind of helped us to kind of build that, like get in at least 8 to 12 weeks we were ready to kind of go to investors and kind of pitch for it. But yeah, at multiple stages, early stage investors, of course, it depends on depends on investors to investors. But in your early stage, of course, you of course should not be going out with just an idea, because today anything and everything, like for you to reach to a prototype stage, it is not that difficult. Like a Canva can help you design a lot of these say posters for your marketing, or a lot of these tools are very simple or fairly easy to kind of get into and build a prototype. So at least a design prototype to an app prototype to and if it is actually a big revenue, because right now the questions are not before pre and do you go to investor before the minimum viable product or post the minimum viable product. Currently, in the current market scenario, it is actually, do you go pre-revenue or post revenue? So that is very interesting. Of course, you should start showing some signs of, so at that time our signs of revenue were one-on-one calls which were starting to get booked on our platform. So that actually helped us go out to the investors. So yeah, I hope I've answered your question. And yeah, I see another question, which is even after achieving product market fit. Yeah, absolutely. It is not necessary that product market fit defines that a business would kind of thrive or would survive. So I can actually, so this is a very interesting question. So the question is around, even after achieving product market fit, companies can fail or go out of business. What are my thoughts on it, and how can we continue to succeed? So it is not just about being product market fit at this point. So of course, the product market fit needs to be achieved. The user need to value, you need to actually solve a real problem. The user need to kind of bet their money on it, so they would pay for it. They should be loving your product so that they refer other users to kind of buy your product. So all this is given. But other than that, there needs to be a lot of business fundamental which needs to be followed. Are you actually able to follow the unit economics? Are you actually able to see whether the revenues are also making you viable in terms of the business? And current macroeconomic situation, I don't know if all of you follow the startup ecosystem, or all of you actually follow the even the macroeconomic situation, where how the US market, or even the India market for that matter, the capital has of course started kind of being more I mean the capital deployment has started kind of slowing down. And right now the conversation is not about growth at any cost, because earlier it was just like you could kind of look at parameters like monthly active users or weekly active users, and you could kind of grow from there. So that was like just these soft parameters would say get you funding or get you value. But right now, most of these things are a multiple of your revenue. So your business will actually be valued through your revenue. And even on that, the multiples have become harder and harder at this point. So you can actually see a lot of funding actually going down. You can actually see a lot of layoffs happening at startups. So all of that is actually a result of public market suffering. Like the public market is not performing well. They are actually, like, the interest rates are increasing, repo rates are increasing. The public market is not performing well. The effect of that is actually coming on the private market, and the startups are also kind of facing a similar kind of thing. And that's where when the newer fundings are not coming into the companies have become more critical about their capital efficiency. Not only the company, the ecosystem has started talking about the same. So earlier, I mean, maybe what was your bottom line may or may not have been that important, but right now in valuing your business, your bottom line is equally important. Your contribution margin 1, contribution margin 2 is equally important, because that is actually a business fundamental which will also help your business to survive. So PMF of course is very important, but you also need to know the financial side of it. You also need to know how you kind of survive and make sure that your bottom lines are strong, your business fundamentals are strong, and you're not growing at any cost, you're not increasing. Like, it is very easy for me to increase the number of salespeople and increase my revenue, but not focus on whether I'm making profit or I'm making loss. And maybe I keep increasing my loss as I grow. So that's something which is very critical. And at this point, of course, a lot of people are looking at these things in a very critical way. So that's something very interesting. I can see one more question, which is what startup can lower their current customer acquisition cost for, because most of the money is going. Oh, this is very interesting, very interesting question which you have asked. For you to lower your customer acquisition cost, a lot of startups follow a lot of different things. Like in our case, we have this 150,000 minutes of content freely available on our platform. So when people look for jobs after BCom, or when they look for Flipkart interview question, we actually appear on the Google search. So we do a lot of SEO, ASO activity, so that we are able to acquire users at lower and lower CAC. So this is very important question where, and you actually see that in a lot of companies, right? There is a content method of acquisition, which kind of helps a lot of venture to kind of acquire users, and then of course help them convert that to commerce. So that's something which companies can do. You can actually focus on a lot of SEO, ASO to make sure that you kind of rank better. You actually provide them something for free, like your end user. So for us, it is 150,000 minutes of content, 7,500 experts on our platform. You can come and click on any of these profiles and talk to their video bots. So we are not just any other mentor-mentee platform. So this helps us kind of bring our CAC down. There is a lot of focus on SMM, social media marketing. A lot of our Instagram reels have got more than 1 million views. Last month, one of the Instagram reels actually got close to 4.5 million views in 5 days without spending any marketing budget on it. So this is very interesting on how we are very heavily focused on kind of bringing our CAC down, so that as you increase in terms of your business, you want to also make sure that your brand stays, you're able to acquire users at lower and lower cost. So that's something which we are focused on. Yeah. So any other questions which you guys have? Would love to answer them. Yeah. And we can keep it interactive, like if any one of you would like to write it in the chat box, or would even like to speak.
So
really,
I'll ask a question, Jatin. So,
sure.
I mean, you've talked a lot about things you've done, things that work. So for anybody who's like just starting off, just based on your experience, you've done this a few times.
Right.
Anything you can suggest to people, like, not to do? Like, I know one of the things you said, when you're doing kind of a proof of concept, don't do something that takes like months, try and do it in like short cycles.
Right.
So what are the things, because like, what are things that are like, people can just avoid upfront?
Absolutely. Anju, I think I have not spoken about the importance of team and about the importance of co-founders yet. I think that is one of the very important.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I'm glad you raised.
Yeah, so that is a very important kind of point. And I mean, of course, I was lucky. Like in my first venture, one of my co-founder was my roommate, like from IIT, the same hostel. The other one was, of course, a roll number after us from the same department and everything. We knew. So finding the right co-founder or finding the right team is equally important. It is as difficult as finding the right partner for marriage. So it is as difficult as that. So and it is as important as that, because it is not a short stint you are going to live together. It is actually like these guys and these like guys, girls, all of them, they are going to be your work wife, and they are going to be your work partner. And that's where it is important for you to kind of have a really good chemistry with them. Through the really good times, all of you will stick together for sure. But it is very important. Are you going to kind of stick together through tough times? And there are going to be many such tough times. So this is very, very important. Like in all our journeys, like right from my first venture to second venture to now, I've seen all the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. We were just 18 months old in Expertrons, and we had an acquisition offer which was multi-million dollars. from an Indian unicorn. Of course, we lie right in the middle of a lot of different space. But interestingly, we had the right mentors. Like at IVCAP, we had Vikram to talk to, we had Nikhil Vora to talk to. So we had the right mentors to kind of talk to them, take the right decision for us. So you have to kind of surround yourself with the right.
So if I can just pause you, I think that's a really important point, Jatin. So if you could also talk about like, how does one go about finding this one right mentor? And two, if you can also talk about if you are able to leverage kind of your alumni network for any support through your journey.
Absolutely. Actually, there is a lot of, I mean, when you actually kind of like, even my first ventures, co-founders, they were right from my same hostel, right from my same the thing. But of course, even my co-founder right now was my hostel mate, is from IIT Bombay. So I mean, I was able to kind of use that right network to kind of find the right people. Of course, I mean, the alumni network kind of becomes a very important key, because there is at least with undergraduation, like with IITs and with a lot of your undergraduation stuff, you kind of grow together. So if these are the people whom you knew from before, that's the best kind of co-founder you can find. The alumni network, of course, helps. Reaching out to your batchmates really help. You can, of course, reach out to people who are already in corporate, and you can talk to them, and maybe they are also thinking of kind of leaving their jobs, and they are also thinking of starting something. So this is this is very critical to kind of find that right network, right person for your kind of co-founding team. The best match would, of course, be people whom you knew from before. So that's for your co-founder. For the right mentor, of course, the alumni base helps a lot, and I see there is a lot of like even if now I reach to someone from who is from IIT Bombay or from some other IIT as well, there's a lot of strong affinity, lot of them are open for mentorship, are open for guidance. So the only catch which may be there is, of course, their time availability or things like that, and that's one part. But you should be open to kind of reaching out to them. You should be open to kind of asking the right set of questions. In that journey, of course, you're going to find a lot of common network or common connect. And that can happen through your alumni events, that can happen through startup events, TIE events, a lot of these places where you'll actually find other entrepreneurs, you'll actually find other seniors from IITs, you'll actually find other people who will be open to mentorship, who will be open to guiding you. But it is very important to kind of have the right mentor, have the right people, because the entrepreneurial journey is not I mean, there's no straight path to it. I'm sure you all must have seen that like where you are and where there is success, and the path is very hazy. So the path is not a straightforward or a straight line. It is there's no mantra to, like, I can give you 7 steps to success. So there's no mantra like that. But the best chance of achieving that success is actually talking to people who were in your shoes, who were facing similar problems, who were exactly in your journey and who have seen all of that. So for me to kind of listen to a video of Steve Jobs is just listening to fun day. But for me to actually talk to Bhavesh Agarwal, who is also IIT Bombay, who has actually built a unicorn and even larger company than that, is actually something I would like to kind of connect to. So that's the kind of connect you would like to kind of make. And that, of course, you can find through your alumni network. You can actually find through a lot of TIE events or a lot of these different events, which, and IVCAP has a very vast network of entrepreneurs as well, but also Ivy Camp does a lot of activities in this area. So this will, of course, help you kind of, events like these will help you kind of to connect with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of mentors, a lot of alumni from IITs whom you can talk to for your help. That will, of course, help you. I mean, a right mentor, I mean, all of us know the importance of it, right? And many of you on this call maybe may have come to IIT via quota. So the right guidance or the right professors or right guidance in your life kind of changed your life and like put you to a life which is which was like a shortcut for you. Like after 12th, you got a shortcut and you got this tag, and now you can kind of jumpstart anything very easily. But that's only the alumni network which you've got. Now you, of course, need to do the, like, every ball is a new ball, and you have to kind of do it yourself. The mentor will only play a role in terms of helping you in certain problem statements or helping you for the next step. You, of course, need to kind of get the answers to those yourself. But of course, you need to find that right mentor. get the right guidance, because you don't need to repeat those mistakes which others have already faced in their journey. So yeah, there's a lot of importance of mentorship in that particular journey. Yeah, I can see one more question, which is, do you have a different pricing strategy for Indian customers and customers outside India? At this point, most of our revenue is in India. Very small set of it is outside of India. So for us, I mean, this question is not so much valid, but yeah, if your product or your this thing is actually of something which is of that nature, where you can actually charge differently for a user which is outside of India, you should of course do that. So that is something very interesting to explore. And of course, you should talk to companies like Miko is one of the portfolio companies of IVCap as well. Sneh is like the founder there. Sneh is again IIT Bombay, one of my batchmates, and they sell like their 60-70% of the revenues actually come from the US market, maybe more, even 80-85%. But and hence their pricing strategy for outside of India is different. So of course you should talk to companies like those where they have something like this, where the product strategy is and their end user is outside of India. So that's there. Where there's some collaboration, can collaboration kind of help you scale faster? Of course, collaborations can help you scale faster. We did some of the collaborations in my previous venture as well, in this venture as well. Right now, we are in talks with Naukri, with Shine.com, with Apna Jobs. A lot of these people who are in similar segments where they have some different problems, we have some different problems, but their scale can help us kind of grow fast, and our content can help them save with engagement. So if there is a mutual benefit out of the relationship, that of course collaborations can help you kind of scale really faster. How do you hire and fire employee? Your view. So this is very interesting question. As a founder, I would say that as a company, you have to be like, company is above all of it. So it is now bigger. Like Expertrons is now more like bigger than me and Vivek, because both of us are founders, but Expertrons is larger than that, because in our seed round, like all of our investors, like IVCap Ventures, Iceland Venture Studios, Anant Maheshwari, who is Microsoft India's president, Kunal Shah. So we've got a good set of investors, and now the company is not just Jatin and Vivek. Now it is our 150 employees. Now it is so many investors, and there are these many investors who have kind of placed their faith on us to kind of with their capital. They've actually placed their faith on us that we'll actually multiply this company in multiple scale. So for us, it is very important to kind of keep Expertrons on the top. And if a company like and I would say about the current scenario, like, and there are multiple reports, like there are more than 20,000 jobs which have kind of gone away in the startup ecosystem in the last 3 months or so. But that has of course happened because of, say, the current market situation, or fundraise not happening, or a lot of these things. But at that stage, any of the companies, if they have to kind of survive as a company, and they are kind of doing, say, certain firing is happening in their company, it needs to be, of course, it needs to be done in the right way. Jobs need not be disposable in nature, but what needs to be done right for the company needs to be done, because and these are some hard calls which, as a founder, like all of you, or like me, all of us have to kind of take. So many times you have to take the hard call which is right for the company, and not like, there are some things which may be right for Jatin as an individual, or whatever employee I'm kind of hiring or firing as an individual. But I have to take the right call for Expertrons. So I only have to keep Expertrons at the top. And will this call help Expertrons become 10x or 100x? And if it will, then of course you have to take the hard call. So my view on hire and fire is that, like, if something is right for the company, if you have to hire an expensive person, you have to do that because it is right for the company. And if you have to fire, say, 10 of your sales team members or 10 of your product team members for some reason, you have to do that for your company's survival or increasing runway. You have to do that. So as a founder, you have to kind of detach your feeling, and kind of take the right calls for the company. So that's my view on that. I can see one more question on initial challenges which we faced when we started working with bigger firms. I think only one challenge which we kind of faced was actually the speed at which a larger firm would operate would not be as fast as you. And that actually is your strength. like the speed at which you can move very fast is your strength, and you can quickly experiment, do things which work, which doesn't work. Which work you can kind of scale them, which doesn't work you can kind of kill those projects, and you can kind of move fast. So that is very important for you as a firm. When you start working with bigger, like say if you're working with banks, or if say you're working with a lot of these different end users, you'll actually see that the speed is very different at their end. And of course, priorities at their end is very different. And hence, it is very important at your idea stage, you should be solving their problem. So if you're actually solving, if you're actually bringing their cost down, if you're actually bringing their revenues up, if you're actually helping them with something, they'll also take action promptly. They'll actually buy your product or services promptly. So that's very important. Should we have more than one founder to raise funds? No, you should not. Sai Krishna, very good question. Like right in 2019, December, when we started raising funds and when we started speaking at multiple events, when me and Vivek started going to these events and when I started pitching and everything, what we realized is that fundraising is at least, it is actually a full-time job. It will at least require half a founder or 75% of a founder's bandwidth. But you should never have all your co-founders or all of them. Like after first 2 or 3 pitches, we decided that Vivek will no longer be in those pitches. He'll run the business. He'll run the revenue team. He'll run the marketing team. He'll run ABC team. I'll run product. I'll run technology, and say I'll take care of the fundraise. So we divided functions between us to make sure that we don't have all the team members in the fundraise process. So very good question, and I hope I've given you your answer, Sai Krishna. Yeah. Any other question, Anju, or anyone of you in the panel?
No, I think that's been like really interesting. As you can see, lots of questions,
Right.
Jatin. So there are lots of questions kind of out there. Just any parting thoughts. That's one. 2, also all the folks that are attending, if you have any questions for Jatin, please let us know, and we're happy to pass them on or even connect you. So Jatin, any kind of final thoughts you'd have to say for people, just from your own experience?
So, yeah, I'll actually talk about the entrepreneurial journey, and then of course I'll also maybe share one of the
please.
So I'll actually, about the entrepreneurial journey, I'll say, like, and I've been doing this for the last decade now. Like this is all I have been doing. Right from campus, had one job for 6 months, and then I've only been doing entrepreneurship. But yeah, I mean, it is not that glorious, which it may seem, but it is the fastest path to learning for sure. It is the fastest path to like from the outside of it, you may feel that hey, okay, entrepreneurship, matlab, आप boss हो और आप ये हो और 150 लोग, मतलब any of our batchmates when they visited my previous office, and I was also with, मतलब हमने अमिताभ बच्चन के साथ कुछ crack किया था और कुछ हम कर रहे थे. Like from the outside of it, of course, grass is always greener. Everyone will feel that, oh wow, what kind of success you have achieved. Even right now, we are managing 150 people, and it sounds very fancy, but मतलब as an entrepreneur, you are everything, right from day one, वो wire लगाने से लेके चपरासी से लेके fundraise तक आपका सारा काम है. मतलब human resource आपका hiring आपका काम है. Everything is your work. So it is not as fancy as it seems. जो दिखता है. I would actually suggest a lot of you to kind of gain that experience very closely. Like ideally before even starting. Like of course, it is very good to start up as early as possible. But if you can actually get a flavor of it, nothing like it. Like while you're in college, you can actually work closely with a startup, closely with a founder to actually get a flavor of it. Like, because you don't want to do the same mistakes and kind of learn at your own capital. You would want to kind of work with someone and understand, okay, ये fundraise ऐसे होता है, MVP ऐसे बनता है, product market fit ऐसे achieve होता है. So that's one of the very good advice which I can kind of pass to all of you. Work very closely with one of the founders, or work very closely with any of the startup companies you can. That will give you a really good experience while you're not trading off so much salary. Because at my point, when I had to kind of start and I actually left my corporate job, I even went at 1/3 of the salary and worked with a founder closely to kind of gain that experience. But in your case, like today, the tables are turned. Like corporates maybe pay lower than startups. Startups are paying well. So for you, you'll not be actually sacrificing on your salary, but you'll actually be working closely with the founder, knowing that, and then taking the plunge is very good for you to do. And of course, there's an immense learning part. So you learn a lot in that journey. I don't think anything else I would have done would have given me this steep learning curve for myself, be it in product, be it in technology, be it in fundraise, the network I've kind of achieved. I don't think any other path would be the shortest path to learning really fast, to growing your value really fast. So that's one. And the disproportionate outcome. I cannot even, like, if I have to just talk about my, and this is of course my third venture, not all ventures were like that. So in my third venture, me and my co-founder, we had clarity. In 18 months, we built a venture, which was $15 million in value, and someone was actually wanting to buy it while. So in 18 months, you have built a venture जिसको कोई खरीदना चाहता है, and they are also ready to kind of pay you, say, 80% cash in that deal. So the outcome is disproportional. It is nothing compared to, nowhere compared to what you can actually do in 10 years of job. So the outcome is disproportional, but of course the risk is also disproportional for you. So I'll of course put it with a warning, and the more you do it, the more you'll be closer to success, the more you'll be closer to kind of seeing it. So that's of course true for any such exercise. So while you're jumping in it, make sure that if you can get a first-hand experience, nothing like it. And of course, I mean, you need to have the right mentor. You need not repeat the mistakes. You need not reinvent the wheel for yourself. And you can get disproportionate outcome, disproportionate learning, but it is not as fancy as it seems. Those 1,000 days, I think 990 days will really be something which will, and some of these days will kind of break you also, but you have to kind of be part of the journey, and you have to decide that I have to be in this journey for at least 1,000 days. So that's my rule. Like anything you start, you have to be in it for at least 1,000 days, because before that, expecting a result is something which, if it happens, nothing like it, but you have to be committed to that. So that's something which I would kind of recommend to all of you.
Thanks so much, Jatin. This has been like great, really, really informational, and hopefully all the attendees have found it, very helpful. Any other questions? I know there are a lot of questions. Thanks for making it so interactive to all the attendees. We'll share them on with you, Jatin. Thank you all for attending. And I know there are a lot of questions about fundraising. So maybe our next session we can do that on fundraising. If you guys have any other thoughts on topics you'd like us to talk about or get other alums involved, do kind of let us know, send us an email.
On this aspect, we actually have got we have actually made a masterclass by Arjun Vaidya, who has sold his company for multi-million dollars. Nikhil Vora, who has a 2,500 crores fund, and he actually speaks about how to kind of look into the minds of a venture capital investor, like how do you kind of pitch to an investor and things like that. So we have got a masterclass around it. It is on our platform. So after the call, I can of course kind of share the details of that to.
Yeah, and we're happy to share it out kind of with the ECells.
Absolutely. And I can have a IITM IB kind of code and have a 95% off for all of you to kind of consume that. So it would be at a 500 rupees cost and kind of go and consume that. So all of you who are interested in entrepreneurship could, of course, you're speaking with someone who was in your shoes few years back and things like that. So of course that is interesting, but also to kind of get in the minds of a venture capital, get into the minds of someone who has sold his company would be interesting. So I can share that link and everything.
So if you could share that information, Jatin, we're happy to kind of pass it on to the ECells, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of interest in that. That would be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you all. Thanks for attending. And like I said, if you have thoughts on other sessions, we want to conduct. We're trying to have these, at least once a month. Do drop us an email, and we're happy to get one of the alumni involved. And Jatin, thanks again for your time and really interactive session. I think lots of good input. So really appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Thanks a lot, Anju. Thanks a lot, ECell, IIT Madras. Thanks, Ivy Cap. So thanks everyone.
Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.